Arab Sang to talk about his first 200 or so days in office. What have been his quick wins? What are some of the challenges he has experienced? And what are the opportunities? That interview begins right now. Governor, karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the program. Thank you for finding time to be here with us.
Asante.
I did some rough mathematics, give or take 10 days difference or so. You've been in office now for 200 days. What would you say have been some of your biggest successes?
I think one of the greatest success that we have achieved as a county is the kind of improvement we have done in the healthcare system. I was personally voted on account of the challenges that we are facing with the healthcare system in Nandi County, and I am excited that, you know, during the period that we had the strike, you will remember that Nandi County was one of the very few counties that had, you know, the medical facilities running because we managed the situation. The second one is that for 200 days now running, we have had all our medical supplies in our facilities up and running. The other success, you know, for us is what we are doing under the, you know, infrastructure section. We have had very poor roads, you know, courtesy of the heavy rains. Nandi County experiences a lot of rains. Our roads are in serious condition. Now we have some dry spell, you know, between January, February and, you know, the first week of or the first half of March, we are having experiencing some dry spell. So we are now doing our roads. Okay. In fact, as we speak right now, our road works are ongoing, you know, all the way to midnight. And this we want to maximize with the dry, you know, season, so that by the time we get to March, we are somewhere in terms of dealing with our roads. Okay. Again, under the education sector, we have given out distributed our bursaries, you know, across the county. But more importantly is that, you know, it's important to take time to plan. According to the County Government Act, we are supposed to work on our county integrated development plan. We are now done with the 30, you know, the 30 ward forums, you know, to engage with, you know, wananchi. We are done today with 6 sub-county forums. Now we are engaging with our, you know, professionals across. We will have a forum today in Nairobi. We will have another forum in Eldoret. We will have another forum in Kapsabet, because we now want to, you know, integrate and ensure that we're able to work on a county integrated development plan that will guide our development agenda in the next 5 years.
Governor, I want to push you a little bit further about healthcare. It is true that you have stood out for that. I have gotten a chance to speak to some of your constituents, some of whom actually spoke to us, and we can, you know, prepare some of those clips. If one is ready, we can listen to the first one. Let's play the first, and then I can come to my question after that.
Kama sekta ya health, tumeona gavana yetu Bwana Sang anajaribu. Sekta ya health sio mbaya sana. Nimeona juzi vitanda, dawa na tuseme anajaribu kuimprove, ku renovate hospitali. Sekta ya health sio mbaya katika Nandi County. Tuende mambo kama ya barabara. Tunaona tena anajaribu mambo ya barabara, naona inatengenezwa kwa kila sub county. Naona amelete tipa kreta zinafanya kazi.
Hakika tangu tuchakue gavana wetu ndio tumeumia zaidi. Ni kwa sababu sisi watu wa biashara ndogo tumesaulika. Penye tulikuwa tunafanya biashara yetu tumefurishwa na hatujaambiwa penye tunaenda. Sasa tumeshangaa sisi ni wapi? Ni Kapsabet, tumeishi hapa, tumelelewa hapa, tutaenda wapi? Si tuko chini, tumehangaika, watoto wako nyumbani, hatuna pesa ya kulipa shule fees. Sasa tunajiuliza sisi tutaenda wapi? Governor, tulikupea kula zetu, tulikuchagua vizuri, kwa nini umetusahau?
I think they've already. So one gentleman there, he's talked about the exact things you've said. Healthcare. He says remarkable change in the hospitals, and you'll tell us how you've done that. I'll give you a chance to do that. But a small-scale trader who says they haven't seen an improvement. I think these are charcoal traders, these are hawkers. Let's start with healthcare first, and we'll come and respond to that. What have you done differently? I think we've only seen success in healthcare possibly in Makueni, and I believe part of your team also took a look at what's happening in Makueni. But tell us what you did differently, that you managed to handle the nurses' strike, and you've managed to equip hospitals as well.
I think one, I have taken personal interest in the healthcare system. You go to Nandi County and healthcare workers will tell you that their governor spends time with them. I talk to them. I, have sessions with them. I discussed the challenges that we are facing openly and candidly. I mentioned to them that we are facing, we know that for the last 8 years, most of the healthcare workers have not had their promotions, so they have about 2 or 3 promotions due.
8 years?
For 8 years.
No promotion.
No promotions. So I told them, the truth be said, this is a problem that we have to fix, but we can't be able to give you all the 3 promotions that are due at a go. Let's do one, then we plan on a second one, and that, in a staggered manner that allows us to work with that. The second one is that we also have a very good working relationship with KEMSA. When I came in, we had a huge debt with KEMSA, and therefore KEMSA were not giving us our medical supplies. I talked with them, and for every word that I gave them, I stood by that word. We told them we are going to reorganize. You remember, that during my inauguration, a budget of about 14 million had been set aside for the swearing in. We brought it down to about 1.8, and that money became the first initial deposit to KEMSA, and consistently we have ensured that we have cleared our debt with KEMSA. As we speak right now, we have no debt with KEMSA. So a lot of this is courtesy of just taking time and discussing with them. We also did a supplementary budget, and we moved quite a number of resources that were in other areas to health sector, because we realized that this was a priority. So I would tell you that we have also made conscious decision as a county government that healthcare is one of our priorities. We want to fix it, and we have talked to other partners, and they're helping us in that direction. That is how we have managed,
clearly it seems to be working, at least in that particular sector, but small-scale traders, you've had one of them really complaining that life has not been good for them. And we've also had a similar issue in Wasingishu, also. Hawkers, I think charcoal traders. Tell us a little bit about why these small-scale traders have a problem with your county government.
One of the challenges that we have with the hawkers is that for a very long time, we have markets, specific places where we are supposed to have our markets. But because most of these markets are, off the road,
and not near matatu terminals,
and where pedestrians use, hawkers are tempted to come to the cities, to the town center. Most of them set up their hawking businesses in front of the shops, so that the traders in their shops are not able to to do their business as well. So we agreed that we need to ensure that we are able to have our hawkers in the right place. In fact, I've had that concern from Kapsabet. I know I had a meeting 2 weeks ago. The town administrator is working on it. We have already a market space behind the NAT building in Kapsabet town. We have also the marketplace within, right at the center of the town. So what I'm asking our hawkers is that let's cooperate together. We need your business, your hawking business to thrive, but we also need all these other shop owners also to have their business.
Are you meeting with them the same way in which you've met with health stakeholders, you've spent time with them? Have you been able to engage hawkers in a similar manner?
I have gone to the market 3 times. We have in this, we have advertised in our tenders some works to be done within the market in Kapsabet, and therefore really I think this is work in progress. And I want to assure them that we consider hawkers as key business people. By the way, part of a bigger proportion of our local revenue is actually from hawkers and from these businesses. So I would be stupid as a governor, not to take good interest. To take care of the interests of these hawkers when they actually give me revenue as a county government.
A challenge we had from a neighboring county, Wasingishu, is that hawkers and county askaris actually almost fought. And we saw some of those pictures circulating on social media. Is that how you're going to deal with hawkers in your county, or can you assure them that you handle them in a more humane manner, even if some of them might still insist that they want to stay on the road?
No, of course, what we are asking them is that let's be reasonable and let's work with the law. But more importantly is that we are a humane government. I think the way I operate myself is that I have discussions with them. I remember we had an issue with the border riders. I had a town hall meeting with them. They had refused for about 1.5 years to pay their sticker fee. After our meeting, They volunteered a few coordinators.
Okay.
They have paid all their, sticker fee, and therefore, really, and I can tell you for a fact that we will be able to handle this the same way. For us, we consider them as partners in our government, and therefore, whatever it is that we agree, it is for the good of all of us, and that is something that we are working on.
Okay, let's switch gears. Let's talk about ghost workers.
Yeah.
Late last year, you were on record saying that previously almost 3 million Kenya shillings per month was going to ghost workers.
Yeah.
Some math showed that a total of 200 million Kenya shillings had gotten lost to ghost workers. Again, in your words or in a report that you released, have you identified these 300 ghost workers, and where are they now? Or those who created them, because a ghost has a source.
Yeah. It was interesting when we came in as a county government. We realized that we couldn't account for the number of staff that we had.
Okay.
Casuals, and even the mode of payment, you couldn't tell, how these casual workers are being paid. Some of them, a requisition would be made for petty cash only to come and pay some stipend. So when we did, I commissioned a task force to work on this, and we realized that we had 317, so to speak, ghost workers.
Okay.
Because these were people who are on payroll. When we asked for a verification process for everybody to appear before the task force, come and tell us, and we gave them a form to fill, your names, your department, who you reported to, what your daily activities are, how much you earn, per month, and whether you are paid through M-Pesa or through cash or through the bank. A number of people took those forms, looked at the details that we were asking for them, and they disappeared. So eventually, when we were done with the entire process, we had about 317 people who were on payroll.
They received money from the county.
They received money from the county, but they didn't appear for the in the verification process. So clearly, these were ghost workers. Then we went down into identifying the departments and the responsible staff. As we speak right now, the responsible staff who handled these processes are facing disciplinary, procedures within the county government, and therefore this is something that we addressed. The other one, then we established about 500, genuine casuals, but looking at some of their terms of service, you find a graduate with a degree earning 7,000
per month.
Per month. You find somebody who has been a casual worker for a total of 12 years. You find others, a diploma holder earning 5,000. We realized that this was completely, against the law with regard to human resource. So we agreed that we were going to make the painful decision, since we need their services. And a number of them, again, were employed or engaged in a procedure that was not procedural.
Okay.
So we decided also that these ones, we have to regularize the process, because we know they have been rendering their services to us, and we moved all these casual workers into contract terms, and we improved their terms. A degree person who was earning 7,000, others 12,000, we moved them to about 30,000. Those ones who with a diploma, we agreed, we had a negotiation with them, and we needed to better their terms, so that as I push them to deliver services, you are talking to a staff who is motivated.
Okay.
So we decided as a county government that, unlike what I have seen in other areas, for us, we decided, since we needed their services, since they have already been working with us for 5 years, some for 3 years, some for even 12 years, we decided to engage them on contract terms. But we made it clear that this is a contract term of 1 year, the renewal of which will depend on
how they perform. I'm sure some of them appreciate the fact that you're able to look at this. My question is, to the 317 ghost workers, what happened to them? Are they at home now, enjoying the fruits of their labor? And did your predecessor, the former governor, know about this?
I think the disciplinary process will reveal.
It's still ongoing.
It is ongoing against against the
heads of
the heads of those departments.
Okay.
That is ongoing. However, these are ghost workers who are at home. They were not doing anything. So actually, what we have just done is that they stopped receiving public resources on account of sitting at home and doing their own thing. So I think really, because they were not in any of the departments, they were not working anywhere else, and they didn't appear for the verification process.
Okay.
So one of the other things that we are trying to do is that a majority of them were receiving their cash through, their stipend through the banks. you know, on the basis of confidentiality clauses, you know, we are trying to deal, you know, to follow the law to ensure that we get the details, the exact details of the payment schedules, so that we try to establish who these were, and if we are able to do it, we are able to recover.
EACC is helping you with this.
Yeah, we have, and again, we have also invited
Auditor General
to come and, you know, undertake an audit. It's really frustrating for us because I think most of the counties have been asking the Auditor General to come in and step in and help us with this, you know, audit. Because if we don't do this status audit as we start the process, it means that in another 3 years we will own the mistakes of the previous administration.
Because
that is a challenge.
We have seen that you've raised concerns about double payments on certain projects.
Yeah.
You've called for a forensic audit, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. 14 million spent on a sewerage works for Kapsabet.
Yeah.
Did that happen? I'm not. Did it happen?
That is, in fact, that is a separate. I did 2 task force committees to deal with this. One was with regard to the casual workers, and that is what, you know, the outcome that we have just discussed. The second one was on the huge pending bill. In Nandi County, when we came in, we realized we had 1.3 billion worth of pending bills. And a number of them were with regard to projects. And, you know, I am a resident of Nandi. I was the, you know, senator for Nandi. So you know, we know the status of Nandi County. Projects were not there. The roads were in terrible, you know, conditions. And therefore, when you have 1.3 claims with regard to water projects, with regard, I decided to institute a, you know, a task force again to look into the pending bills. And some of the revelations were shocking. A very good example is a water project in one of the villages called Kombe, where we had, you know, a contractor is asking for 3 million for the project. When we went into our records, 5 other contractors had been paid with regard to the same water project. And when the task force, you know, went to ground to try and establish the, you know, the state of the project, we realized that the project was not there in the first place. So this is a ghost project. 5 companies have been paid. You know, another company is asking for another 3 million to make it. So the 5 companies had been paid 17 million. So these 3 million would make it 20 million for a non-existing project.
We have seen governors who are hesitant, Governor, to follow up on the sins of the past because they either don't want to aggravate their voter base. There's tribal politics in almost every county as well. Are you one of those governors who, because we've had governors say, you know, before on record, come clean. But a governor should not be telling people come clean. They should be directing the EACC to check there. We have a problem there. Check this other place. Yeah. What is your style? What can we expect from you in regards to this?
I'm really helping my predecessor because he suffered under a situation where you have unscrupulous staff colluding with funny contractors.
He did not know
to fleece the county. So I mean, if you look at if we look at the kind of racket of network. As at now, I really can't say much about how much he knew, but clearly the racket, you know. So and for me, what is more important is that I just want to follow the law, ensure that we establish the real culprits. From the look of things, we are talking about some of the accounting officers, some of the staff within the procurement department, some of the staff within the departments like inspectors. How would you, you know, before a payment is done, there must be an inspection certificate and a completion certificate. Who is this that issued a completion certificate 4 times or 5 times for a project that did not exist? Really, you can't go for a governor for that. You go for specific stuff. The law is clear that, you know, as members of as an accounting officer, you must be able to take responsibility for it. Okay,
Governor, your constituents have said 2 things about you. You can confirm if they are true or if they are not. Number 1, it said that when your CECs were taking the oath of office, they had already signed a resignation letter, a sign that if they did not perform, their signature, all you needed to do was to sign to send them home. Is this true? That's the first one. Did that happen?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it did. What was the thing?
The point is this. I was in the Senate in the last 5 years. Yes. One of the challenges that most of our governors faced, and this you can confirm if you look at the governors who came back for their second term. If you look at the number of CECs that they retained in office, most of them retained 1 or 2 or none, which tells you that they were working, the working arrangement between them
did not work.
Did not work for them. And therefore, the challenges is that, you know, the process of doing away with, sacking a minister is so complicated in the act. Yet, Wananchi will hold you accountable as a governor. So what I told my CECs is that I have not been forced by anybody to give you a job. I'm giving you a job on account that I know you are going to deliver. But just in case this changes, and you are unable to do your job, I don't want to work through a lot of procedures.
Okay.
Can you do your resignation letter?
How did they respond?
Since most of them are people that I know, especially for CECs, people that I know, people that I have confidence in their capacity, people who come in with a lot of intention that let us change our county. Most of them had no problem with it. So they tendered their resignation letters that are not dated, properly signed. So they were sworn in.
Yes.
And they signed their resignation letters and dated. I have them in the safe.
Very radical.
But I know for a fact, from the look of things, that I'm unlikely to use them.
Okay.
Because it's not out of blackmail. It's a situation that we have all agreed that we must be able to work towards changing the lives of these people.
Okay.
And for them, they have agreed that should you be uncomfortable with the pace at which I'm doing things, I am willing to
someone else can take over.
To step aside and allow somebody else to come in.
Very radical, and I'm sure your constituents, those who voted for you will applaud you because of that. Another challenge that, and again, this has come from people on the ground in your county. They say that ever since you were sworn in governor, you are hard to reach. You're hard to reach on phone, Governor. When you were senator, you were on the ground, you were everywhere, but now you're harder to find. Is there any justification to that? How can your constituents reach you when they have problems?
As a county government, we have agreed on how to ensure that Wananchi are able to reach us. As a governor, I have 2 days in a month specifically set aside for me to meet my constituents. They come to the office, organized groups, individuals. That is Tuesday of the second Tuesday of the month and the last Tuesday of the month. My deputy governor is available once every week. Every Thursday is a day to meet our people. The CECs have, it's a walk-in, walk-out, open door policy. So for me, really, it's of course it's impossible, to be available to be met by everybody. Again, we spend more time at the grassroots. We have forums across our counties. I am a hands-on person. I go to, I inspect the road projects, some of them happening even at 9 o'clock, and I am there. So really, I make impromptu visits to our facilities. So really, I think...
anyone who would make such an allegation...
Accessibility, I think we have done the much that we can be able to do. I know the difficulty could be by phone. And of course, it's because you are in one meeting after another, one meeting to another. You are on the ground. So I want to admit that with regard to availability on the phone, that is a huge challenge that all of us are struggling with.
Do you need more PAs? To help with more phone lines?
It becomes even more problematic when your PA picks the phone. I mean, a villager in the village wants to talk to his governor.
You yourself.
Not his PA. And, if they do that continuously, so really, I think what we are doing is to open opportunities for communication, direct communication with my CECs, with my sub-county administrators, ward administrators, so that a resident of Nandi should be comfortable that once he has spoken to the CEC, once he has spoken to the ward administrator or the sub-county administrator, somehow the communication channels within my government is such that all this information gets to us. But on those specific days set aside for them, I am always in the office at 6, and I'm able to see them all the way even at 8.
Okay.
So this is really.
And if you want to reach the governor, send us a text 22422. I'll give them to him throughout the course of the show. Some of your constituents spoke to us about health, agriculture, roads. Let's listen to what they had to say.
Naona hapa kuna mabadiliko kwa sababu last time naona madawa hayakuwepo, then ulikuwa ni shida sana kuhudumiwa. Madawa yalikuwa shida, unaweza kuwa uko mgonjwa, so vitu nilikuwa napatikana sana Panadol, painkillers. But saizi naona kama uko na malaria unatibiwa mzuri, unapewa dawa, ambapo naona hapa imekuwa very improved.
Agriculture is the mainstay of this county, and let the phosphate and the inputs be brought on time, and let the subsidized fertilizer be brought at the right time, and let the farmer get good prices for his or their crops, and let the county government do the much it can to fetch the market for the farmers.
Watuwekee mara sana kwa sababu especially njia ya kwenda kuanzia njia ya Kapirsang ni tunatumia hiyo sana kwa njia ya maneno ya Fatlek, na tena tunataka tutengenezee kiwanja kwa tuweke maram ili ya chini ya Shokro.
All right, they've spoken about health, agriculture, and roads. We've talked about health, we've talked about roads. Let's get into agriculture. Google Nandi County, a lot of the discussions will be around maize, wheat, tea, sugarcane, coffee, and dairy farming. Let me begin by asking you a question, because I'm sure you'll also want to tell me what you've done in regards to those. When we talk about coffee, we know that, or we've been told that there are no factories for value addition for coffee, especially near Tinderet, where a lot of the coffee is grown. Sugarcane is taken to Kisumu. You don't have a sugarcane factory in your county. What are your plans to make Nandi not just a producer, but also a hub for value addition?
Yeah.
Talk to us about that, Governor.
One of the challenges that we have in my county right now is that Nandi is an agricultural county. But progressively, we are moved towards subsistence farming, which means you just grow maize for your own consumption, you grow vegetables for your own consumption, and this has aggravated the poverty levels in our county. We have to move back to cash crops because our farmers must be able to have some disposable income available for them. That is why we are now, my government has shifted into modernizing and commercializing dairy farming. That is why we are now providing subsidized. In fact, in another 2 weeks, we have worked with Kagrik in Nairobi to get the semen for the various breeds of dairy cows. We are now going to launch a program where we will provide subsidized AI services. We are acquiring motorbikes so that every ward will have an AI inseminator available for them. The second thing is that we want to coffee used to do very well in our county. In fact, if you go to some of the areas within Aldai and Tindred, you find a lot of properties belonging to collapsed coffee cooperative societies. Now we want to get back to serious coffee farming. In our budget, we have allocated resources for us to buy seedlings, coffee seedlings, and the goodness is we are buying these seedlings from our own existing coffee cooperative societies. So if you spend in one cooperative society 3 million to buy seedlings and you give them to farmers, in a span of 3 years, these farmers will be having at least 10,000 or 15,000 disposable income available to them every month. That is the way to go. So we are going serious on coffee farming. Again, we have allocated resources in our budget to buy pulping machines, to try and ensure that we are doing the primary sort of processing of coffee until we have the beans.
Will that be closer to those in Tinderet? I know there was a launch of a coffee factory near the airport.
Yeah.
But those in Tinderet feel that that's a bit far.
Yeah.
So
in fact, with regard to the coffee factory at closer to the airport,
yes,
this was a factory that was going to be in a neighboring county, and I negotiated with the investor and managed to bring it back to Nandi County.
I'm sure the governor of that county was not happy.
Of course, the choice of the site is on account that it's closer to the airport. Most of this investor is looking at the outside market directly from our county. But really, currently, most of those coffee farmers are bringing all their beans all the way to Nairobi, all the way to Thika, all the way to these places. So really, from bringing that factory from Thika to a site in Nandi close to Eldoret Airport is a good step in the right direction. Again, most of these pulping machines that we are going to buy are going to be, we are targeting the area around Tindred and Aldai, where already, farmers are already doing very well in terms of coffee farming. But again, Mosop has a bigger area that is good for coffee. That is why we want to buy seedlings. We want to invest a lot of our resources in getting new farmers to get into coffee farming.
So coffee will definitely be a drive for you for the next 4 years.
And then again, we have Kaimosi Farmers Training College in Nandi. And this is a renowned farmers training institute. We want to refurbish the place, modernize. We bought us, a bus for them so that we can be able to ferry farmers from far-flung areas of Nandi County to come for training. Because at the end of the day, really, if you look at more of the serious farmers in Nandi, most of them are aging, 50 years to 60 years. If you ask them, they were all trained at the Kaimosi, Farmers Training College. So we really want to refurbish and ensure that we are able to go to farming. One of the things that I did in my manifesto is that we want to run a program called, agriculture is cool, and targeting to entice young people back into agriculture. If you tell a young person that pick your jembe and go to the farm and do this kind of farming, they don't look at that as fashionable. They want to do smart farming. Horticulture, avocado farming. We want to also look at, greenhouse, farming that would encourage our young people to get into agriculture.
Okay.
Those are the kind of programs that we are running.
Okay,
right now.
I'll rush you because I don't want us to finish this interview without talking about sports, because you're the source of champions. But dairy farming, again, your county known for dairy farming. You have all-round good weather. Your cows have no problem getting food. We know that you have cooling stations where people can store their milk, but you don't have a milk factory, do you? You don't have a milk factory?
We don't.
We've seen other counties now where we are seeing milk made in county XYZ.
Yeah.
When will Nandi see milk made in Nandi County, yogurt made in Nandi County? What's the plan in regard to that?
One of the things that we want to, the position that we are taking as a county government, is that we don't want to invest directly ourselves in a factory as a county government.
Why?
We want to organize these small dairy cooperative societies to form a cooperative union. Then we can be able to support them so that it is owned by the farmers. The challenge of just having a factory owned by the government is that it just becomes one of the many other government entities that can easily sink, or we want farmers to own this process. And therefore we are now organizing our dairy farmers. We have very good dairy cooperative societies, Tangina, Lelchego, Kabiet dairies. We want them to put them together into a dairy cooperative union, which is one cooperative union in Nandi County, then work with our county government to support them, source for a factory, a processor. And by the way, one of the other programs that I have as a county government is that we want to give our children in ECD milk. But the commitment that we made is that we don't want to source for milk from outside our county. We want to give ready market for this processed milk from our cooperative societies. So that is why we really want to support cooperative societies. If you look at my structure of government, different from my predecessor, is that I have created a specific department on cooperative development, specifically looking at championing cooperative societies into a cooperative union. We do value addition through a processor. Then they can be able to sell their milk to our school feeding program in our ECD centers in Nandi County. That is how because my objective is to ensure that the 5 billion or so that comes to Nandi County through a division of revenue bill, we want to ensure that as much as possible, the same money is retained within our county. Okay. Those are the programs that we are running.
All right. We are getting a lot of SMSs. Let me see. We have a lot on roads. You've already spoken about that.
Yeah.
We have some on land grabbing, and I can give you a chance at the end to talk about that.
Yeah.
We have one. I'm trying to summarize them because they really are many. We have one on agriculture. Someone has asked about subsidized fertilizer, both for maize and tea. They'd like you to provide that. And water. Water drilling machine per ward. So you note those down. Do we have the final sound? We had one last clip there from an athlete in Nandi County. Nandi is known as a source of champions. A lot of the world beaters across who have done Kenya very proud, or made Kenya proud by the exploits out there, come from Nandi County. And we had an athlete speak about something they'd like the governor to focus on in the next couple of years. Can we play that now?
Mimi ni mkimbiaji na mimi nakimbia marathon, na sioni government ametusaidia kitu, kwa vile kiwanja ni ile kiwanja yenye tumepata hapo ni 3x400, haifiki 600. Kwa vile ile kiwanja tungesaili tupate kiwanja, ingekuwa kiwanja 400. Yaani sasa hatujapata hiyo kiwanja, kwa vile mimi naona ile ya kwanza yenye ilikuwa imetengenezwa hatujaona imekuwa lama, lakini bado haijakamilika.
All right, sports. We had to get into this, and let me read you a little bit about what I found out about Kipchoge Keino Stadium. I think closed for 5 years now. What's the issue? You've been on record before saying that, and because I believe that's part of his complaint, because he now has to train elsewhere. Showground is the location, and he wants to train in that stadium. It's got a prestigious name of a Kenyan hero. You've said that you want the national government to take over the stadium. Is that still the plan? And if it is, why has Nandi County government, the first governor, and now yourself, been unable to complete that stadium?
stadiums are capital intensive.
Okay.
If you have to, if you're just doing a stadium, you know, for football and the likes, it's easier. But if you have to do a stadium for athletics training, you know, the Tata and all the other facilities, it's quite involving. One of the challenges that we have had is that for a period of 5 years, we had, you know, I think 2 contractors, you know, doing the works at Kipchoge Keino Stadium. We are even having challenges with, you know, understanding the procedure, how the first contractor, you know, exited and the new one came in. And therefore, we have a number of issues that we are resolving around that. But again, we have negotiated with national government. You remember that the national government had a program of setting up various stadiums across the country. And we have, you know, negotiated and, you know, and convinced them that they take up Kipchoge Keino Stadium in Kapsabet.
Have they agreed?
And they have agreed.
They have agreed, okay.
Yeah, the government has agreed.
So how will it work? They'll construct, then hand it back to you, or does it become a national stadium in Nandi?
No, it is. I mean, all these sporting, you know, facilities belong to county governments because sporting is a devolved function, save for the national, you know, stadiums. So just like they are doing in, they did in Embu, they did in many other areas, even Kipchoge Keino Stadium in Eldred. So they will be able to complete, and the facility is available for us and for everybody. But then the amount of resources that would have gone towards the completion of the Kipchoge Keino Stadium, which is what I want to use to set up a residential training camp in Kapsabet, right opposite the stadium.
Or you've already identified the location.
One of the challenges is that if you look at some of the world beaters of ours, you go to where they live, you will be shocked. In slums within Kapsabet, you know, some of them very insecure areas. So we want to set up, you know, as residential training, you know, camp in Nandi County, right adjacent to the stadium, so that we, you know, athletes you know, our athletes who are training for the various championships, for the various competitions, can be admitted on some, you know, agreed procedure. Then they can be able to be hosted there. We provide food. Some of the things that some of our champions go through. Somebody's training for athletics is very heavy on in terms of energy, and somebody has no food. The rent, you know, an athlete goes out training, you come back and the landlord has locked your house. You know, those kind of, you know, challenges. We want to do a residential training camp that will house about 500, you know, athletes, so that we find a procedure and a way of agreeing on who gets admitted. Then we can be able to process this, and you know, as a county, since we pride ourselves as being the source of champions, yes, we truly must be so.
Briefly,
so that
tell
is what
us,
we are doing.
what are you going to do to transform Nandi County from not just being the source? Because the source tells me that some leave Nandi and go to now train in Iten or Eldoret. Yeah. What are you going to do to market it as a sports and tourism destination?
I think the residential training camp that we are setting up in Nandi County will be one of its kind in our republic. I don't think that we, as we speak right now, we do not have a county government that has been able to invest in a residential training camp. I think that will be able to attract us. Again, the proximity of the stadium, you know, to the training camp is a good thing. The other thing is that we really want to set up many other, you know, work with schools to provide, I mean, to equip their, you know, their school fields, you know, the playing fields, ensure that we level them, we get them into the right standards, so that then you don't just need to train in Kapsabet, Kipchoge Keino Stadium. All the other schools that we have across our county will provide those kind of suitable environment for us to work. The third one is that also the reason why we are called the source is because once our athletes are successful, most of the investment opportunities they take up are in Eldoret and maybe Nairobi. We want to find a better way of engaging with our heroes, our heroines, our athletes, so that when they succeed, they also come and invest in Nandi County. That is why we are doing a proper master plan for Nandi County, for Kapsabet, for Nandi Hills, so that we are able to attract them, give them opportunities, give them incentives for them to come and invest back at home. By the way, if you go to Eldred, most of those huge buildings in Eldred,
the source
is Nandi County.
Governor, I want to give you 1 minute to summarize by telling us about, someone has asked about land grabbing, others have spoken about water, and your final word.
with regard to land grabbing, I think that is a challenge that we are facing all through. Some of the some of the facilities we want to set up in Nandi County, we are unable to get land. And you clearly understand that most of these pieces of land around Kapsabet were county government, were trust land under county governments, but a lot of grabbing has taken place, and that is why we do not have this. I think we are working with National Land Commission to ensure that we are able to reverse this. With regard to water, we are now procuring 2 water drilling machines, so that we can be able to do water drilling in areas that require that.
Okay.
But the major water project that we are keen on working with national government is the Keben water project, which will serve almost half of Nandi County. So the water project, the mega dam in Keben, is what we are pushing on to ensure that we are able to have this.
And it will be complete in your first term.
We hope that this is national government. We hope that we can be able to complete this.
Okay.
Generally, what I'm telling Nandi County is that
briefly,
we are excited with the steps that we have made. We are now at the very critical stage where we are developing our CIDP. Our intention is that to have a very all-inclusive CIDP that will include the big 4, because we want to partner with national government in delivering the big 4 that the Jubilee administration has given: manufacturing, value addition, healthcare, and job creation for our young people. Those are some of the areas that we want to capture within our CIDP. So we are telling them, thank you for the participation that you have undertaken with us in the last 2 weeks or so. We are finalizing that process so that we have an agreed agenda for our county, and the promise I give them is that I am out to transform our county.
You're out to transform their county. For the questions that we're not able to take here, we shall give them to you and your team, and you can have a chance to look at them, just so that all those who are able to send us their messages, they'll be able to get that feedback to you. Someone is quite happy with the thought of a residential training camp. They say that they support that only 100%. And I'll send you the other SMSs as well. Many thanks, indeed, Governor, for finding time to be here with us.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you in a year or two to catch up on some of those promises and whether you have achieved them and to what extent.
Thank you.
Well, time now.